welcome to that 90s Wrestling Podcast. Today we are celebrating the year that was 1992, a year of not a lot of downs, I don't think, a lot of ups, improvement on 91, I believe, but we'll look into that during the awards. But joining me once again from A Change in Attitude, we have Mags. How you doing, Mags?
Yeah, thanks for having me back. It seems like forever since I've been on the show, but yeah, I'm glad to be back to give the award for the best of 1992.
Awesome. And from the UTT podcast, we have Rob and Dan. How you doing, lads?
Well, I'm going to steal it from Tolly. Merry Christmas.
Oh, it'd be nice. I wonder if we'll get Tolly back one day. Hopefully one day.
Well, I can't top that, so I'll just say hiya.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So, yeah, Frank's coming back on. And, yeah, 92. Interesting year. So, a lot of change. A very transitional year, we could say. We're leaving Hulkamania and we're nearing that new generation era now. So, very much a transitional year. But, yeah, so I suppose we'll kick off. So, first award, Tag Team of the Year. Bit of a weird one this year. Last year was out and out. It was Legion of Doom. But this year, not a standout year for tag teams, but we'll start with you, Mags. Who was your tag team of the year?
Okay, so for me, it was between two. It was between Money Inc., who were always in and about that title picture, but I'm actually going to go for the Natural Disasters.
Yeah.
So the Rumble, they beat the current tag team champions, which was Legion of Doom by count out. They beat Money Inc., who were the tag team champions at Wrestlemania. They defended their titles at Summerslam against the Beverly Brothers, and then they were also on the winning side of the 4-on-4 Survivor Series. So they essentially went unbeaten all year on pay-per-view. They had a face-turn storyline and a cheeky little tag team run in there. So I think it was a very successful year for Tugboat and the Shark. So I've got to go with the Natural Disasters.
Awesome. Rob, who are you going for?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Natural Disasters. I mean, obviously, this is the version we get on the network. In reality, we know that Tugboat's WWF champion this time. I can't really add much to what Mags has said, really, apart from we got the classic Tugboat standing on IRS's tie and Bobby Heenan shouting it's his tongue. And the mullet work of Tugboat was outstanding this year.
Yeah. Cool. Dan?
Yeah, I was looking at this in a couple of different ways. In terms of the shows we watched, which was obviously just the pay-per-views, it was hard to look past Natural Disasters. But since Mags and Rob have already covered that, I'm actually going to go for Money Inc. because they spent 7 months of 1992 as the tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely between them two. And yeah, I'm actually going with Money Inc. as well because like Natural Disasters has done really well, but I really enjoyed the pairing of Money Inc. and like DiBiase is kind of he's at the end of his solo run now, so to pair him up with a new heel on the roster, IRS, and pretty formidable tag team, really well. So I suppose the award is split between them two, which is weird as well because two of them. So
we need Tolly. Once you've listened to this episode, Tolly, you need to tweet us your pick to split this vote.
No, I'll tell you how we split this. We split it as to who had the best entrance gear, which was quite obviously Ted DiBiase with his white suits.
Oh,
and how great the championship belts looked. It was chef's kiss.
Do you know, I may flop then because that's a great point. DiBiase looked so good in that white suit, and the titles did look better on them than they did on Natural Disaster. So yeah, I'm gonna face turn. I'm gonna switch my vote to Money Inc.
Would you say DiBiase looked $1 million?
Oh,
and I've just ruined it. He's going back to Natural Disasters.
Duke comes the trophy around. I hear it sounds like a garbage truck reversing it. It's going beep, 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 caution, this podcast was reversing his decision.
Right, so Money Inc. it is as the tag team of 1992 after much discussion. So, cool. So next one, new award, promo of the year. So it's a bit of a shame we didn't do it for 1991 because Jake Roberts would have won it hands down. But better late than never. So we'll start with you, Rob. Promo of the year.
It's the Ric Flair with a tear in my eye promo at the end of the 92 Rumble. It was just amazing. And it really felt like there was genuine emotion from Ric Flair and Bobby Heenan and Mr. Perfect. He didn't. The sort of what it meant to them really sort of shone through. So, yeah, it's got to be that.
Cool. Max?
Yeah, I've got to agree with Rob. That's the standout promo for me. But I've got to give also honourable mention to Roddy Piper. I think he was outstanding all year. His promo with the Mountie I thought was fun. The face to face with Bret Hart was good. I enjoyed Savage's promo at the end of his title victory Mania as well. But a very, very close runner-up for me was the kid who says that Bulldog was going to win whether he wants to or not. That is just a classic promo. But yeah, I'm going to go with the same as Rob, Ric Flair with a tear in my eye.
Dan?
Well, it's really hard to look past the tear in my eye promo, but I'm going to have to look past it because when I was making my notes, I didn't fucking watch it because I'm a tit. So I'm actually going to go for the Roddy Piper and Bret Hart face-to-face promo from WrestleMania 8 because they made me care about a match that had no build. They had a couple of minutes to get me invested, then they went out and put on an absolute banger. So for me, it was probably one of the most effective promos that I've ever seen in all my time watching wrestling.
Yeah.
I love Dan's not watching the last 30 seconds of a show. We were recording an episode of Unbooking Territory the other day, and we had Tony on as a guest, and we were talking about Lex Luger's heel turn, and Dan was like, "What? We watched the same episode," and it turned out it just turned off early.
Wow.
As soon as I see that thing come up to say the next episode's coming along, I'm not bothered.
Cool. But yeah, I love that Piper promo as well. But yeah, I've got to give it to Ric Flair as well. It's just one of the most memorable promos of all time as well, not just of 92, but in the wrestling history. So Flair it is. Right, so we'll jump on to one of our favourite awards, the Mullet of the Night. So quite a few mullets on show. I'll play my cards first, and I've got to say Crush, bro. Love Crush's mullet at SummerSlam. Just glorious. And yeah, he is the Hawaiian Rob Terry, as we have christened him. But yeah, absolutely beautiful mullet by Crush. So Crush gets my vote. Dan, we'll go to you.
I only considered people that have given Mullet of the Night on previous, on the previous pay-per-view, so I'm not going to pick some, random knobhead sat in row N of, WrestleMania 8 or something like that. So I've actually gone with Tatanka, because you got the double whammy with Tatanka of the red streak down the middle with sort of like a Mohican-looking thing, and then you've got the little flicky bits at the back. Can't go wrong with him.
Nice. Rob?
Again, I'm going for that very specific mullet. It's in the flashbacks at WrestleMania 8, and it's Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So it wasn't as good, but that flashback mullet, wow.
Fucking Brutus.
Mags?
I'm gonna split the electorate here because I'm going for a totally different one that no one's picked. I'm going for WrestleMania 8 referee Roger Ruffin with the most perfectly cut helmet / bowl haircut that I've ever seen.
So we're all just going to agree that it was Tugboat then.
If in doubt, Tugboat wins.
So going to Rene Goulet again then.
Yeah, Rene Goulet retains his award.
That's fine by me. If we can't agree, it's Rene Goulet or Tugboat.
That's the answer every time. So Rene Goulet, you had 0 votes, but you are the winner. Cool. Next one, Wooden Spoon of the Year. Survivor Series 91. Still.
Even though we're a year on, you still can't get over how bad it was.
I'm just trying to think, to be honest. Wooden Spoon of the Year. What was the worst of this year? Max, you got one?
Yeah, man is the finish to the main event at WrestleMania 8 with Pac Shango being about 45 minutes late. Sid, Hogan, and Whippleman kind of calling the match on the fly and what's possibly the weakest disqualification victory ever. And all that builds to Warrior coming out to make the save. So, yeah, farts in church all the way around.
I actually asked the Godfather about that the other week. Why was he so late? So stay tuned as I find out. Dan, what's your answer?
I've gone for the single worst match, I think, of 1992, and that was the Beverly Brothers versus the Bushwhackers from the Royal Rumble.
Every match between those two is the worst match.
It was just... I couldn't even tell you what happened in it, but I just remember sat there thinking, this is fucking awful. And then it went 15 minutes. And it was just 15 minutes of my life that felt like 3 days that I'll never get back.
Rob?
A sock. I'm going to give the wooden spoon to a man who, in 1991, felt like he had a rocket strapped to him, and in 1992, it just all fell away, and it just went into ultimate jobber. It's the wrestler formerly known as Virgil. It's Curly Bill.
fucking Curly Bill.
Brilliant.
It's the only award Virgil will ever win.
Well, I'm kind of piggybacking on Dan's answer of the Bushwhackers for the Beverly Brothers, but I am actually nominating Jameson.
Oh, yeah.
He was so bad.
That was something that Vince saw and he thought was hilarious and give it a spot on a major pay-per-view.
It was that bad I forgot about Jameson.
So where are we going?
All of those were awful.
I can afford we can surely have a whip round and afford a pack of wooden spoons.
Yeah, I think I've got 3 or 4 spare.
Go. So next one, moment of 1992. This is toughy. Rob, we'll start with you.
It's Flair winning the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
It just because it was that whole thing of him coming in as the real world champion and then going on and proving it. And he didn't prove it in a heel way. He didn't back off once. He didn't go outside and take a rest like a lot of these people that have gone coast to coast in the Rumble. He wasn't backing down for the entire thing.
Yeah.
He won it as a face, so it's Flair winning the Rumble for me.
All right, Dan.
For me, it's the culmination of my favourite match of all time. It's Bulldog winning the IC title at Wembley in front of 80,000 home fans. Just that pop and Bulldog actually doing it was, you can't really compare a lot to that. It was fantastic.
Mags.
Yeah, I'm going to lead the decision firmly on your door, James, because I can't split between those two iconic moments in this year. Flair, like Rob said, going Broadway and winning the title on merit, and then putting the title over as proof that meant you was the man. And then obviously emotionally for being a Brit, seeing Bulldog headline a pay-per-view, winning a title, and then knowing how he was carried to that match by Bret Hart, knowing how much effort Bret made in putting Bulldog over. I can't split between, so I'm going for a tie between those two moments.
And the good news is we now have another wooden spoon to give out, because Mags can make one for all the splinters in his ass from that fence he's sitting on.
Toughy. I know where my next award's going, so I'm going to go a bit different on this one. So I'm going to say Flair winning the Rumble, and I suppose you can incorporate his promo afterwards, but yeah, I can't say more than what Rob said about it. It was just basically went coast to coast. Like we mentioned originally, Bobby Heenan pitched the idea of him entering number 1 and winning it, which would have been even better. But he basically done that number 3, but just great. And like we said, he won it not as a heel, he wrestled all the way through that match, and such a great moment. So yeah, I'm gonna say Ric Flair winning the Rumble is probably the moment of the year, and obviously the promo incorporates the same thing. Next one, match of the year. So which Bret Hart match are we picking? I'll start SummerSlam. Greatest SummerSlam match of all time. Greatest SummerSlam main event match of all time. Possibly the greatest Intercontinental title match of all time. So easily Bret v Bulldog for me. Done.
Yeah, complete agreement. I've already said it's one of my favourite match of all time. I waxed lyrical about it on the SummerSlam review, so I won't take up too much more time on it. But yeah, it's just utterly phenomenal, and for me, easily the match of the year.
Mags.
Yeah, I've got to go with Bret and Bulldog. I think it was run close by Warrior and Savage, which was on earlier that show. And then with Savage and Flair at Mania, and then obviously the one we watched last week, Wink, for Bret versus Michaels. But yeah, as I said with the moment, the fact that it's a Brit in the only major WF pay-per-view to be in the UK, a Brit in the main event. Bret Hart just putting on a stellar performance out of a year of just stellar performances from the guy. Yeah, it was absolutely superb. And like you said, probably the best Intercontinental title match that there's ever been. So yeah, I've got to give it to Bret versus Bulldog.
Cool. Rob?
Yeah, so this year had the best SummerSlam main event ever, but it also had the best Royal Rumble ever. And star power in this Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. There's Hogan, there's Jake the Snake, there's Ted DiBiase, there's Roddy Piper. It's just all over this. It's star after star after star. I can't think of another Royal Rumble that's as packed. And the story of Flair going the whole way. It's got to be the Rumble for me.
All right, cool. That's actually the third year in a row Bret Hart's won match of the year. Fun fact.
Because he's really fucking good.
Yeah, like I mentioned, third SummerSlam in a match in the year in a row. That is one match of the year. So, Mr. SummerSlam. Cool. So next one, MVP of the year. I'll lay my cards down. Bret Hart. I mean, he missed the Rumble because he was ill. Wink, wink. But had. I think he won match of the night at WrestleMania 8, him and Piper, or it was close. I think he did win it that night, so he won match of the night that night. At SummerSlam, obviously, him and Bulldog, and the recent match at Survivor Series, him and Shawn Michaels. But just such a great year for Bret. Like at the start of the year, he's possibly going to WCW, ends up sorting out the contracts. Wins the IC title in a great match against Roddy Piper, loses it in one of the greatest matches against the Bulldog, ends up defeating Ric Flair to become WWE champion, and then successfully defends it in a great match against Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series. So for me, 1992 is the year of Bret Hart, but we'll jump to you, Mags.
Yep, I can't disagree with a word that you just said. Starting like you said at the Rumble, where he was having contract issues, that could have easily been the ruination of a character. Especially, I mean, we've seen Nails, we've seen Ultimate Warrior, where they've had issues with Vince McMahon, and they're suddenly quickly out the door. In less than a year, Bret not only regained his workhorse title, then dropped it and made somebody else a huge star in doing so. But then he was top of the mountain and facing his nemesis, Shawn Michaels, in one of the best matches of the year. Yeah, he's had an outstanding year, and he hasn't had a bad match on any of these pay-per-views that we've watched, and just the consistency from him. I can't fault Bret Hart being MVP.
Rob?
Well, he won my MVP of the year in 91, and he's winning it again in 92. It's Randy Savage. He had the Jake Roberts rivalry at the Royal Rumble. He wins the championship at WrestleMania 8 in the whole Flair, Miss Elizabeth, Savage, love triangle storyline. He drags the Warrior to another great match. Mm-hmm. the Warrior.
Who did he drag?
King Warrior.
Was it the Ultimate Warrior as well?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even a knockoff version. It was one that couldn't wrestle. And then he's in this sort of spotlight match at the Survivor Series, which, as I say, is, you know, the kind of focus and everything with Mr. Perfect's return, etc. You know, he's an integral part of that. So he's in high-profile storylines all year. And remember, this is a guy who was supposedly retiring last year, and he's gone on and had a stellar year last year and a stellar year this year.
Awesome. Done.
And just like that, we're back to kissing Bret Hart's ass.
Well, come on, of reason.
Yeah, well, thing is with Bret Hart, you've got to remember that this was a near terminal case of contractitis, and he's recovered from it to put on an absolute banger with Piper, which again, I said it earlier, and I don't think either of you guys said it just now, with no build. It was literally a thrown together title match. They had one promo that made us care. It showed the issues. It got them both wound up. They came out and they settled it. Bret comes out on top. Then puts on, like I said, say it again, my favourite match of all time, and regarded as one of the best ever, SummerSlam. And then how do you top that, or how do you live up to that? You go out and you have a 27-minute classic with Shawn Michaels that I think you said, Mags, and I agreed, did not feel like it went that far, that long. It felt about 10, 15 minutes tops, which to me is always a sign of a great match. And all that via the IC title, and finishes the year WWF champion. It's, unparalleled for me.
Cool. All right, next one, pay-per-view of the year. Hasn't been a bad year for pay-per-views, actually. Rob, we'll start with you. What was your favourite pay-per-view of the year?
It's got to be SummerSlam 92, hasn't it? I mean, park match quality for a side, and there were a couple of decent matches on SummerSlam 92, but the atmosphere, you know, the fact that there's 4 times as many people in the stadium, the fact that it's a crowd that don't often get wrestling and they're just hyped for everything. The Road Warriors coming down on the motorbikes, The Undertaker on the back of the hearse, Lennox Lewis with the flag, you know, with all the sort of razzmatazz around it, it already feels head and shoulders above the rest. And then within that, you get Savage Warrior, you get Bret Hart Bulldog. So it's got to be that for me.
Go, Mags.
Yeah, Rob pretty much nailed my pick. And that's no disparagement to Mania or Rumble or Survivor Series, because like we've said, this has been a really good year. But for me, those pay-per-views had maybe 1, 2 good matches tops. This one had at least 3 decent matches, but the moments that you got from it, they live on in absolute infamy. Like Rob said, the coming down on the backs with Legion doing one of my favourite moments of all time. Bulldog winning the title, superb. A Randy Savage match where he gets a good match out of the fucking Ultimate Warrior. I mean, you can't say better than that. So yeah, I've got to agree with Rob with SummerSlam 1992.
I'll imagine you're in agreement, Dan.
Yeah, we're going for 3 for 3. It was a really good year for pay-per-views. I really, the Rumble is one of, if not the best of all time. In terms of the Rumble match itself, WrestleMania 8 was a decent one. Survivor Series was middle of the road for the most part, but like Mag said, you still had sort of the 2 standout matches in the tag match and the main event, Bret versus Michaels. But yeah, SummerSlam gets the sort of nostalgia pop for me as well, because there's so much that goes on in this. It's such a spectacle, like we were saying, and even stuff like in the undercard, like Rick Martel, Shawn Michaels, and all the shenanigans with Sherry, especially at the end where she's pretending to pass out just to get them to stop fighting and punching each other in the face, and then she eventually they want to beat each other up so bad that they just forget about her and leave her on the ramp, and leave her to walk out. It was Max, I can't believe you didn't mention Repo Man.
Well, he didn't have the best of years. He did lose to Crush, which it's unforgivable, really, that you can't drop a match to Crush of all people.
But he was there. He got to have the trip over to merry old England. But yeah, SummerSlam 92 for me.
Yeah, same here. I love the Rumble, but I think I love the Rumble more just because of the Rumble match. And I like that WrestleMania. It was, I think we said that a lot of it felt like the match was in the wrong order at times. Overall, I still enjoyed it. And Survivor Series this year, yeah, it was an okay pay-per-view with a great main event and tag match and leaps and bounds above Survivor Series 91. So, but yeah, SummerSlam 92, great show, some great matches, and even Rick Martel, the Shawn Michaels match you just mentioned, that I enjoyed that as well. So, SummerSlam 92 is your pay for the year. So, final award went to the public vote. Someone's got a big smile on his face. So we decided to find out who was the host of the year. So we went to the cesspool that is Twitter. And,
it's a delightful place, James. They've got really good taste.
Feels like come dine with me, this, doesn't it? So
who gets the grand?
Who gets to return to the show next time? In fourth place with 19%, we have Dan.
And quite frankly, that's too much.
That's ridiculous. No way. I can't believe the results of this poll. I call shenanigans because Dan should have won this by a landslide.
Bullshit.
In third place, me with 22.
Your own show. You're the third best person on your own show. Really. That's what I feel like on the changing attitude.
That's what I feel like on UTT. There's Rob the guest, and there's Rob the guest, and then there's me.
In second place, Mags with 26%.
A travesty. That's 26% of people are fucking idiots for voting for me.
And the winner, Rob with 33%. How do you feel, Rob?
Well, I seem to get a surge in votes when I said, the only way I'll learn is if I get constructive feedback, and no one gave me any feedback and just voted for me. So I'm not going to learn anything. It's genuinely appreciated, but I don't. You three guys deserved it more than me. But for everyone that voted, thank you very much.
It's definitely a team effort. I don't think this show would work as well without all us four. And I'm honestly so glad when James put this idea out about doing it, because it's one of the highlights of the month when we get together and just get to take the piss out of old wrestling.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And for all my stuff on Twitter, it is true. I am uncomfortable with praise, so I didn't want to have to be in a position to accept a fictional award, although James is holding up a little trophy to the camera as we speak. Although I
thought that was his cock. I thought he had his cock out.
It's silver. It's got wings.
Did you want to hear the YouTube results, by the way?
Oh, go on. I bet I've got like 5%.
No. Tied third place, Mags and Rob with 8% each.
Wow. See,
Second place.
That's totally like the opposite of Twitter.
Yeah. Second place, Dan with 17%.
Sensible.
I'll take that.
First
was me with 67%. This is the fault of people who actually watches the show.
I'll just say that out of the people that don't watch or listen to the show, more of them voted for me. Once they actually listen, then.
I've maintained a quite nice consistency across that, though. 19%, 17%. I'll take that. That's all right.
That's all good fun. No, I want to say thank you to you three, and obviously Tolly for the short time he was with us. Hopefully he'll be back one day. But no, I love doing this.
Yeah.
It's
Tolly, come back.
We miss you, Tolly. We love you. We want you back, love.
But no, I love doing this. It's always fun doing these reviews, and just I don't know. Like obviously, I love doing interviews. You know I do, but love doing this. It's just having obviously I have fun in the interviews, but like this, just four lads talking about wrestling and having a big nostalgic trip going through the 90s, and next we'll be going through 93, which it's a very different year. We've mentioned the departures what's happened this past year since the Rumble, really, and more's to come, and so many new faces, and Raw starts in January, which changes wrestling, and got the Royal Rumble, Wrestlemania 9, which gets a lot of hate. I've got nostalgic memories of Wrestlemania 9, I think purely for the setting, and I did talk to Todd Pettingill about it, and that was his first show, and he shared some great memories about it as well. So 93 is a very different year. We've got the Lex Express to look forward to, Yokozuna with his massive run, and Bret Hart trying to get Vince's attention again. Hulk Hogan making a brief cameo. So
I'll be healing on a camel. I think that's the highlight.
Yeah. You can see Jim Ross, but awesome. But yeah, thanks, lads. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this. And yeah, we'll catch you next time in 1993. Oh, before we go, plug your shows.
I paused then as well. I thought he's ended it without the plugs. Never mind. See you later, guys.
Just listen to this show.
Wow. I'll go first. You can follow me on Twitter at PodForwardMaster, where I'm officially the second best person on this show, and nobody can take that away from me. But if you want to hear me talk more wrestling, I have a show called A Change in Attitude, where a couple of friends and myself, Tanner and Ora, we look back at the Attitude Era of the WWF, and we look at it through 20-21 hours and see what stands up, see what falls down. So yeah, come and check it out.
Cool. Rob and Dan, UTT podcast.
Go on, Superstar, you first.
I was going to let you go first then. But,
I don't need you. I don't need your pity.
Yeah, you can find me at UTT Rob on Twitter. It's more about mutuals and followers generally. So if you want to follow, I'm more than happy to follow back. You can find myself and Dan on Booking the Territory, our UTT podcast. We're on our own channel, or listening to this episode via That Night is Wrestling Podcast's podcast feed. Then you can find us on there as well. We cover the highest and lowest TV rated episodes for each creative period of the Monday Night Wars.
Awesome. Dan?
You can find me on Twitter at DanGriffin21, usually tweeting wrestling that's at least 6 weeks out of date and movies that are about 25 years old. I'll also be encouraging people not to vote for me in polls, just so I can finish bottom and claim that I carried this entire show on my back.
Standing on the shoulders of giants.
So does that mean Dan's the wooden spoon of the year then?
Just don't give me the one that was made out of the splinters from Mag's ass.
Really big. And for everyone who wants to follow me on Twitter at 90s Wrestling Pod. Follow me on Instagram, That 90s Wrestling Podcast. And you can join the Facebook group, That 90s Wrestling Podcast, where they're getting quite a few members now, and it's a great place to interact. And if you're not on Instagram or Twitter, and if you're on Facebook, you can find the links to all our episodes on that group's chat. So yeah, please join. And if you listen to us on podcast form, please give us a 5-star rating, comment, and give us a subscribe. Really does help us out. And same if you're watching this on YouTube, comment and subscribe and tap that bell icon. And just try and keep growing this channel. The past year has been crazy, so hopefully 2021/2022 can hopefully grow even more. But till then, we'll catch you in 1993. Bye.